Hey, this is Jay, and welcome to Sacred Gaming Podcast, episode 22. How in the world are you guys doing? I am joined by my good friends Ocho, Blanco, Mr. Taboo Lexicon, running everything behind the scenes, and hopefully you guys can hear us. And we have a special guest with us today, Rex, man, from Sacred, or I'm sorry, not from Sacred. How about from Solid Rock Gamers, man? How the heck are you doing, Rex?
I am doing well. I'm glad to be
Great.
with you guys.
Thanks for being on the show. I knew I was going to mess that up. We got some similar names going on here. But on today's show, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be going right into our faith topics and talking about some scripture that is impacting us. And we're going to introduce Solid Rock Gamers to you guys, tell you all about them, introduce Rex, interview him, and then we're going to be switching over and playing some Black Ops 3. So we hope you stay around for that, and feel free to ask any questions or anything like that. But you guys know me. I am Judgment Awaits. For the icebreaker today, in honor of 9/11, I'm just curious where you guys were and what you guys thought about that, because I know I was at work when that happened, and I remember coming home from lunch. I remember hearing rumblings about that while I was at work, and I came home from lunch, turned on the news, and I heard that this plane had gone into one of the towers. And then all of a sudden I see this footage of this other plane going into the other tower, and I remember thinking, oh my, what in the world is going on? I don't know, just a crazy, surreal time. I was alive when the Challenger exploded, and that had a similar feeling for me. And Ocho, I don't know if you remember that. Taboo, Rex, you guys too young for the Challenger explosion when that thing blew up? Looks like you.
I don't remember if I was. I don't remember what year it happened, but either I was alive when it happened and just really young, or just I don't know. It's kind of vivid in my memory, but I don't know if that's just from seeing videos or whatever.
Right. Since then. Yeah. All right. Well, Ocho, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing on 9/11?
It's Ocho. Actually, I've been thinking about doing some more YouTube videos at some point.
Right.
Well, okay. I'll put that out there. Maybe we'll actually put some together. Actually, I did put some videos into the video editing program to start working on stuff, but need to complete that. So I remember, 9/11, that was 2001. So I've between jobs until I was actually driving this friend of my parents. This my friend, she was an older lady, probably old enough to be my grandmother. I was taking her, I think, shopping or something, and so we're listening to the radio, and they start talking about these planes hit the building. So I'm thinking the first one that maybe it's an accident, maybe there's something wrong with the controls, and then the second one was like, whoa, so it's like complete system failure, but it's in the same building area. And so that's when they started coming on talking about we're under attack. And I think that was really the last time I listened to music radio, because I think since then the only radio I listened to has been talk radio and news radio, that kind of stuff.
You don't listen to music radio anymore since then?
Not really.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, when I listen to radio, because I'm usually listening to my phone in my car, and the only time I listen to radio is when I'm in my car, and it's usually through my phone, so it's usually podcasts or something like that now. But
gotcha.
Between now and then, that's kind of I listened to a lot of talk radio back then too, but I think I mostly switched to listening to news radio and stuff.
Gotcha. Well, cool. All right, Taboo.
Yeah, bro. Let's see. I was in a work truck. I was doing pest control at the time, and I was on a route, and I was in my work truck in between stops, and I was listening to some radio station, and it is the same situation. The first thing, they were just talking about how it was a tragedy where an airplane struck the tower. They weren't sure if it was accidental or whatever. And then while I was listening to the radio and they were reporting on it live, it was all of a sudden the second plane hit the second tower, and everybody, it was just everybody knew right away then that it was, intentional. It wasn't an accident. And so that's solidified it. And then throughout the day, I remember I'd be in and out of people's houses, and they'd have the TV on, and they'd be just watching it. So that'd be where I kept getting my information in bits and pieces at different people's houses. And just the whole day was crazy.
Yeah. Dang. All right, Rex, you're up, man. you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you remember from 9/11? You were alive then, right? You were
Yes,
pretty young.
yes. And I'll tell you how young I was when I go into it. I might throw you guys, but no, I'm RexEstChristus, but people call me Rex all the time. I'm recently married. I'm the leader of Solid Rock Gamers. My wife's birthday is actually today, so happy birthday. I told her last night at about 12:04 because we had our wedding reception yesterday, and it's like an informal barbecue type deal. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people there. But as far as 9/11, I was in 3rd grade.
3rd grade, wow. How do you process that in 3rd grade?
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was weird because my mom, like my bus was late. Don't know why the bus wasn't there. My mom came running into the kitchen on the phone because our neighbor had called and said, turn on the TV. So she turns on our little 13-inch TV that we had in the kitchen, and it was like we see the tower and it's engulfed in flames, and we watched the second plane fly into this tower, and I was like, this is nuts. And like right after it flew into the second tower, my bus comes down the street, and I was like, do I go to school? Do you want me to go to school, or should I stay here? And in the frenzy, she's just like, no, just go ahead and go to school. Wow. So I go to school. I get to school, and everybody's on the reading carpet. And one of these girls is crying actually because they were listening to the radio, and they found out that a plane had hit the Pentagon, and her brother worked at the Pentagon. So she was all sorts of a mess of tears and everything. And we did nothing that day except for just sit and talk, and lunch was brought to us. If you had to go to the restroom, you were followed there. It was a lot of people just went home early. I think the buses actually took us home early too. So it was an interesting day. Yeah.
Heck yeah. My daughter was born on 9/11, a few years after the 9/11, but it's kind of been an awkward birthday because you want to celebrate, but you're also remembering everything that happened, and I don't know, it just seems a little bit weird. But congratulations, Rex, on the marriage, man.
Thanks.
Everything going good?
Yeah, I mean, like I was telling you earlier, we 3 hours away from where family is and everything, and we've made 2 trips, and the radio has not been on for any of the trips. We just talk all the time, so
that's cool. All right, Ocho, Taboo. If you went on a 3-hour trip right now with your wife, Ocho's pretty much a newlywed too.
Just hit 2 years.
2 years, all right. Well, maybe not, man. Time goes by fast, man. But if you went on a 3-hour trip, how much talking would you do?
Probably not much. I don't talk that much anyway. She always has more stuff to talk about than I do, and it's usually more interesting.
So you listen a lot, though?
I do listen.
That's good.
Until one of us goes to sleep. Hopefully the one that's not driving.
Yeah. Tabby, what about you?
Yeah, we've been together. Well, we've been married for 8 years now, so not much. Radio.
Yeah.
We got a kid in the car too, so that adds to it. So
that changes everything.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah.
VeggieTales music, right?
Right.
Usually they're watching a DVD or something like that if we're going on a long trip and you hear that. Now I fall asleep when I drive, so now I listen to books, and those are the only thing that can really keep me awake. If I listen to talk radio, Ocho, it gets me mad, and then I end up probably driving a little aggressive and everything like that, and just yelling at things and everything. So I try not to do that. So books are the key for me.
I can't do that. I get in trouble if I go over the speed limit, because my work van, it's got a geo tab.
Oh.
So you can't go more than 5 over the speed limit. You can't corner hard. You can't accelerate hard. All this other jazz. They know where you are.
Nice.
That's trouble if I did that.
Yeah, that kind of stinks, but maybe it's good. It might keep you out of some trouble or something that.
It keeps you out of trouble. Hey, they pay for gas. They pay for maintenance.
Hey,
I to and from work in the van.
They can awesome!
Make all the rules they want. So
yeah. So, Rex, tell us about Solid Rock Gamers. When did you get started? How did you start? What the heck are you all about? Or you guys all about, I should say.
All right. Well, you can't necessarily say you guys either, because there's girls a part of what we're doing too.
That's awesome.
There's some girls a part of what we're doing.
Let me just stop right now and apologize, because you know what? Girls get overlooked in gaming, and they actually get I play with some girls in Call of Duty, and when we played in lobbies where you could hear everything, when the other guys found out there was a girl playing, they get attacked, man. I mean, some guys are kind of hitting on them, but the majority are like, especially if they're any good and they're whooping on you, it's pretty rough. So let me apologize to all the ladies out there. We know you're gamers, and I didn't mean to exclude you in any way, but go ahead. Rex,
no, it's something that we talked about a while back when I was streaming, because someone pops in the stream, you don't know if they're male or female or whatever. So I always ask, I'm like, if they say something about, I'll apologize, because I asked one of our members, Catastrophic. We call her Cat. And I was like, how often do you get mistaken for a guy? She's like, all the time. And she goes, I don't let it bother me anymore. Bless you.
Is that the missus?
Yes.
All right.
His girlfriend.
2 weeks.
But no, Solid Rock Gamers, we started it back in April of 2014. It was a group of 3 of us. There were 3 that had the idea. We'd been friends since we were super little, and we'd always been into games. We played together, always watched YouTubers and all this other jazz, but we never really found a good sense of fellowship and community as far as like Christians being together and wanting to promote a clean environment within what can be seen as such a vulgar, negative, and just nasty, immature world. And so we set out in April with Minecraft and a YouTube channel, and 2 of us made videos on the same channel, and then from there we just kind of slowly built the Minecraft server that we have, and now the Minecraft server is huge, 24/7, whatever. Everybody plays on it.
Awesome.
And we've got a big community of almost 100 people worldwide, a part of what we're doing, and people go in and out of activity, things like that. But it's a good, solid group of people, and we just aim to solid. I made a pun there.
Yeah.
It's a good group of people, and we all aim to just have a clean, positive Christian influence, whether we're in-game making videos, live streaming, just fellowshipping with others, just to kind of build up a positive environment. So
Awesome. Hey, and if you guys want to check out Rex or Solid Rock Gamers, hopefully there are a whole bunch of links in the video description, and you can find a link to his Twitter as well as Ocho's in there and Taboo's in there, and then links to their channel and their Twitch account and also to their website. So make sure you go check them out, say hi, and I'm sure you won't regret that. So let me ask you this, Rex. There are some stereotypes about Christian gamers, and one side, is obviously people who really don't understand about Christianity, and maybe they have some bad experiences with Christians. But on the other side, there are Christians that tend to kind of look down on Christian gamers or gaming and kind of hit that. Have you experienced any of that? I mean, are you ever embarrassed to say you're with Solid Rock Gamers or anything like that? Like if you're talking to another Christian or something about that or anything?
I mean, at first it was one of those things where everybody just looked down on you about it, and I had to get over that fact. I'm like, people are always going to be hypocritical about everything. They're not, if they don't understand it, they're not going to look on it positively. So I took it as my goal to explain it to them. And I mean, I just don't let it bother me as much anymore. And when we first started, it was like, oh, this is awkward. I don't know what to say. Like, I watched my first YouTube video a while back, and I'm like, oh, my Lord. But, just the further you get into it, I found myself being more comfortable with how to explain things because of the way just people look on it negatively. And I explained it to, well, I guess you could say new family members that I've acquired by being married, and they were just like, oh, how does that work? And then you go into the process of explaining what you do and how you go about what you're doing, and it's an interesting experience.
Cool. Ocho, Taboo, you guys got any questions? I don't mean to hog Rex all this time or anything like that.
I've seen on Twitch sometimes. I think I can't remember if it was you were streaming, or is there a Sakred or a Solid Rock Gamers in like a stream, or is it you individually have different streams?
Everybody each has their own like individual stream. So
Okay.
Cool. Cool. And if they go to the website, can they find links to all the individual streams?
yes, I'm actually working on that.
Okay.
I had it up on the website originally, but it wasn't finished. It wasn't completed. I want to get it completed this week, but it'll provide links to everybody's either Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, whatever they have. And I'm hoping to get some bios from people so that people can understand, hey, this is what this person does. They play Minecraft, or this person plays Destiny, or this person always plays Call of Duty, so that they can find what they want to do and who they want to interact with more often. So
Cool. All right. So what kind of games are you guys all playing? You named some of them. Is that pretty much the main games that you guys are streaming, or?
a lot of Overwatch is being played right now. Call of Duty is kind of on the falling apart because it's towards the end of its life cycle. I've got a few people that play World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Rocket League, Destiny. Gosh, you name it, we play it. I mean, so
Cool.
And it's been a couple of months, I think, since I've been on the Minecraft server, but when I was on there, it was really very active.
yeah, the activities pick back up a little bit. It kind of goes through spurts. I've noticed since we've had the server almost 2.5 years now, it goes through spurts of activity and things like that. But I think Kat right now is working on this thing she's calling the town hall, and it takes a lot of quartz and bricks and everything. And we're all just trying to help her out and put it together with her. So
That's cool. There's some good neighborhoods on there.
yeah, every time I get on, there's a new road going to some other different part of the server, and there's like 50 million houses. I'm like, holy cow! What in the world are these people building?
Cool.
Has there been any? All right, so you're newlywed. Has there been any kind of adjusting with your wife and gaming? Has your playtime gone down, or have you noticed anything from that?
As far as like, well, I mean, she's fully behind and supports what I do and what we're trying to do with software gamers. So, balancing things though is always a daily thing, because you don't want to spend too much time in front of the computer screen and completely neglect the people in your life.
Yep. Yeah. What do you think the biggest danger is from gaming? Do you see anything that you warn people about or anything like that when it comes to gaming?
I try to remind people that it's just a game. As competitive as I like to be about everything, it's still just a game. If you start raging or whatever, maybe it's time to just step away. Turn off the console. If you have to rage quit, whatever. But just turn it off for a little bit. And another thing I tell people is don't go against your convictions. Because if you're convicted not to play a certain game, even no matter how much someone wants to get you to play it, if you're convicted that it's not something you should be playing, don't go against your convictions. So
Cool.
That's good.
Yeah. Man, there was something else I wanted to ask you. Oh shoot. All right. Have you seen any real fruit come from the relationships, the bonds that you're making with other gamers, or maybe people that don't know Christ? What are you seeing from that?
I mean, we've got someone, Redemption, or Brawler, or Jedi, whatever you want to call him. He's changed his name, I don't know how many times now. But he's getting married this fall, and we've got 2 or 3 people from the group that have never met each other that are all going to his wedding.
Oh, awesome.
That's cool.
So they're making a road trip of it, and they're going up there. So I'm excited. I won't be able to go because I've got prior engagements. But no, that, and then there's been times where someone's been at work, and because they work at a restaurant, and they'll start walking down the aisle, and they see a kid watching a YouTube video on his iPod or his iPad or whatever. And I was told one time this kid was watching one of our old Minecraft videos, and it had like my face on it and everything.
Yeah.
And he was able to stop and say, hey, I'm a part of what we're doing. Handed the parents a couple of the business cards and was able to talk with them a little bit. They appreciated it and moved on. And I think one of our members was noticed in a YouTube video while he was at a movie theater.
Uh-huh.
I was like,
Wow.
that's interesting. I was
Wow,
like, that was the weirdest thing ever. I've never met this girl before in my life. And she's like, is this you? Shows him the YouTube video. And he's
No
like,
way.
yeah.
So you're saying, if you end up doing something similar, you might get some women from this. Is that what you're promoting?
I wouldn't quote me on
All
that.
right. Wait, we want to get into the faith topic. Normally, we kind of talk about the faith topic after we talk about gaming. We're doing a little bit backwards, and maybe we should put this first normally. But we want to talk about maybe what kind of scripture or things are impacting us right now. And if you've got any questions for Rex, put those in there now. And then, like I said, in a little bit, we're going to go over and play some Black Ops 3 and try and stream that and see how that goes. So anything impacting you guys scripture-wise or anything like that? It's God speaking to you about something, challenging you about something, smacking you on across your forehead with a 2x4 about anything or anything like that?
I think the biggest thing that's been on my mind lately is the concept of community and what that means, especially in 2016, because it's like I was telling my wife today, the nice thing about playing games with people and knowing people from different parts of the country is like I don't like playing games with a bunch of people like from around the country. It's almost like hanging out. I work with the guy that I play games with, but I play games with you guys and a bunch of other people, and it's like, it's nice because I'm not limited to geography. I don't have to hang out with somebody that's down the street because they're down the street. I can hang out with the people that I want to hang out with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, keeping that in balance, like, it's tempting to just like withdraw and just be a part of an online community and really kind of neglect like in-person community.
Yeah.
So like that's where I'm wrestling right now is how to keep that in balance. What's important, what's most important, and how do I be a good steward of my faith and in community without going too far in either direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I tell you what, Tab, I've been really contemplating some of what you said, because I feel like the church, and I want to be careful saying that because I don't want to stereotype the church, but I feel like we don't necessarily do the best job discipling people. And so I'm wondering, should I focus on discipling people from my church? Because I can think of some guys that I think I could do that with right now, or is God calling me to do that through Sakred Gaming? And is that possible online? And so I don't know. I'm really praying about that right now because I really want to get some more discipling. I mean, go to small groups and go to Sunday school classes and everything like that. But discipling is really different. You are really inviting somebody into your family, and not. I think a lot of times in small groups you teach people about God, but in discipling you show them how to have a relationship with God, and I think you do that as well in small groups. But for me, discipling really focuses in on that. And so I don't know. That's what I'm praying about right now. And work's getting crazy, and the family. What about my kids? I've got some responsibility with my kids. So I don't know where things need to head, but I'm praying about that. And if you guys could remember me in prayer about that, I'd appreciate it.
One thing that's like super convenient about this online world is like my kid goes to sleep at like 8:30 at night, and like I'm not gonna leave the house at 8:30 and then go like hang out with somebody and like try to be spiritual and disciple them, but I could hop on a Skype call in another room, and do that. So that's another draw on the online thing. But at the same time, it's like really easy for me personality wise to just kind of be like, I usually don't feel like I need a whole lot of like social interaction, personally. So it's easy for me to withdraw and just be like, maybe use online relationships as a crutch, as a way of not being in personal local relationships. But I don't know, it's a struggle. I feel like local relationships are probably important,
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm in a tough spot with that because I just sometimes don't feel any real need or desire to be in those. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm an introvert, so I know exactly what you mean. I don't need those things, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Ocho, Rex, anything God speaking to you about or challenging you with?
This is kind of a side point, but I was just pulling up BibleGateway.com and a G2A ad came up.
No way.
Like, really?
That's cool. Creeping right now.
I don't know if that's a sign or anything, but no.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, I think Kingdom Soldier, well, at his church, he did a sermon and was talking about like how he had to step away from video gaming sometimes, and he sold his consoles and all that kind of stuff. And I think I forget what the title of this, but it was something like commitment or sold out, something like that. And it was like it just made me think about if I were just like not game, would that be okay? If I just stepped away from it and just sold everything, and would I be able to do that? It's like sometimes you can think of it like an addiction or just something that's an obsession, or I think you may refer to it as an idol. So it's like I think what we were talking about earlier is like just being careful and like if you, like what Rex was saying earlier about if there's like games that you promise yourself you won't play, but then you go and play them, then you're compromising on your convictions. And I think the same way is like if maybe you're setting aside time to do something and then you don't do it because you're stuck on gaming or things like that. I think those are things that I've been thinking about lately, and making sure that I use my time more productively.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, cool. Cool. Can I share a passage with you guys? Something that's speaking to me. Just a short
There it
one.
is.
2 Corinthians 6:14 says, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers." I want to be careful with that verse. You know, that's not saying we're not to be friends or avoid people who aren't Christians, but there are some special relationships in our lives that I've noticed in my past where I've had a girlfriend who's not a Christian, and I've noticed that relationship, man. It's like you're moving in two different directions, and it's really rough. And I see a lot of people in church. You know, a wife will come to church and their husband won't, or a husband will come to church and their wife won't, and then they're fighting about how to raise their kids and everything like that. And I just see so much division come from that. So I want to encourage everybody to watch those, you know, those BFFs, those spouses, those people that you're dating. I would encourage you, if you're a Christian, be yoked together with another Christian. If you're a non-Christian, be yoked together with a non-Christian. Like I said, I'm not saying don't not be friends with anybody. You know, as Christians, we're not supposed to hide away and avoid non-Christians, because Jesus was a friend, you know, to all those people and everything like that. So I'm not saying that, but the point that I want to make, and what God is really speaking to me about with this verse, is actually kind of another way of looking at it, and that is, it's amazing when you are yoked together with a friend who is a believer and you're a believer, how much you guys can get accomplished and how much you guys can, encourage each other. Or when your spouse is a believer, man, I feel like together with my spouse that we can overcome anything. And with God too, you know, God is right there with us. But it's just an unbelievable blessing to be yoked together with somebody that you are heading in the same direction. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it truly is a blessing with that. So that's something that is speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I've actually experienced that in like the business world, in like in a secular environment, being like almost bound together with. I went to college with this guy. Like we had a lot of classes together, but we also worked together, and we did a lot of like really amazing things in school and at work that I probably just wouldn't have done on my own, and he probably wouldn't have done on his own. But they were like, they talk about synergy being like something greater than the sum of its parts, and that's what it was. It was like two people, but we were able to do something like greater than two people should be able to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'll probably never forget that. We were just it just changed, I think, my college experience for the better.
Yeah. Was that when you worked at Chippendales?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, sorry. Let no unwholesome talk come out, right? Let me just apologize for that one. I'm trying to.
You're
I'm
trying to do
be
your own. You're trying to
thug.
do your own thug life
Yeah,
video.
I am. It's not working. I
You'll
don't know
get
if you
it.
guys saw those videos on Taboo's channel, but you have to go check out Taboo's channel because he was basically a thug in the last podcast, and he uploaded some clips from that, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So check out Taboo Lexicon's channel. All right. Anybody else want to share anything that God's speaking to you about or anything like that?
I mean, the one verse that usually I just kind of root myself in is Matthew 28:19, where it says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit." And that is like the main verse that speaks to me almost all the time. Like, if I'm going to be a disciple of Christ, I need to go and make disciples of Christ.
Yeah.
I need to be that person that doesn't just, sit on the couch, watch TV every night. Be the person that's out and doing something. No, going, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to mean, oh, I'm walking out and going somewhere. You can do that here. And it just, it's something that bothers me from time to time. People will say, oh, I'm a Christian and, I think it's time to wait. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's time for that. But the Bible says to go. Like, we are the people that are supposed to create disciples of all nations. And, here we all are on a podcast, putting our faces on YouTube and going by sitting.
Bits are going.
Yeah, the bits are going. The bit rate is just going. But yeah, that's one verse that usually speaks to me all the time. So
yeah, I mean, if we are followers of Christ, I don't know if we should get away from using the name Christian anymore. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I think it's picked up a different connotation in our society. But if we are followers of Christ, we need to be about that. There is no, that's just meant for certain people or anything like that. We should be going out, investing in people's lives and helping them and get to know Christ and modeling that. And I think, like I said earlier, I think we kind of don't do that. I don't know. It's scary. I know it's scary for people, but to invest in somebody's life, you can do that. To befriend somebody, to tell them about your experiences with Jesus Christ and what Christ is doing for you. You can do that,
right.
And you
don't even
know.
have to talk about the gospel. You just be yourself, be who you are in Christ, and set that example. And over time, people will be like, okay, this guy's different. Why? Yeah. This girl's different. Why? We've had someone that we played with in Call of Duty. He was one of the members' friends, and he would always play with us. And I'm not opposed to it, but he would always curse all the time. We just tell him, hey, tone it down, And over time, he would apologize, be like, hey, I'm sorry. And now he's gotten to the point where he's a part of what we're doing. He's working on a relationship, and he doesn't spew out vulgarities all the time. And there was a moment in a party chat that they were a part of that I wasn't there. He actually started asking questions, like little questions, and then afterwards, the day after, he responded to everybody's like, "Hey, I thank you guys for answering my questions, not, for lack of a better term, beating me over the head with the Bible and Scripture, and just being an example for me. I appreciate it." And that's one of those things that I think what we're doing collectively as followers of Christ and being gamers and being social in the internet world is really important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about being missional at small group a couple of weeks ago in a different context. It wasn't around that verse, but one of the guys was talking about, one of the leaders was talking about how he doesn't like to do things where like everybody's like, okay, look, we got to get together and we got to go knock on doors and share the gospel. He said that's just not his style and not something he likes to do. And he said a lot of times it seems like it's born out of guilt, of not being missional, and then you feel like you got to make up for it. And so the more doors you can knock on, the less guilt you'll have. But I was thinking about being missional, and it's almost like if you just make being missional a part of who you are, just overflowing out of who you are, then you won't have to get trapped in guilt for not being missional and then try to overcompensate by doing some kind of extravagant thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about like the way people talk, like their language, and as far as like cursing and things like that, it's amazing how much that sticks out. Of like if you're just in a group of people and for the whole time you're gaming or whatever, or talking to people, and you don't like use those words, it stands out because we're in such kind of a vulgar community that when people aren't speaking that way, it's like we're not at work. Like you're not at work or in some other situation where like it's kind of looked down upon, but just in a casual situation, and you're not saying those words or making those jokes and things like that. I mean, it's amazing how much that sticks out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool. Especially with the direction our country's heading here in the U.S. I think that's going to get even more and more. Our light's going to be brighter and brighter. So, well, cool. Anything else you guys got? Or anything else you want to share or anything like that? There are 1 billion people accessing, there's 1 billion gamers out there, and I'm sure the far majority don't know Christ. So we've got an awesome mission field to reach people, to change stereotypes of what people think about Christians and what Christians think about gamers. There's 2 stereotypes going out there, and I think things are starting to change with that. But I feel blessed to be a part of the mission to reach people. And I hope anybody listening to this, if you ever have any questions, please ask. We are not going to think you're weird or stupid or anything like that. We're not going to, like they said, beat you over the head with anything or anything like that. Christ has changed our life in a radical way, and we want to share that with people and tell people about Christ. So that's what we're hoping to do. So always feel free to get in touch with us. Send us a message. You can find us on Facebook, on websites, on Twitter, on YouTube channels, and everything like that. And we would be honored if you asked us a question or just reached out to us and talked to us.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll answer at work if I have to. So
there we go. Leslie Lewis got a question. Is it wrong that I'm proud to be an American because all the original true values have disappeared? Anytime I hear the word proud, I want to be careful with, because if we're putting all our faith in a country or something like that, I want to be careful of that because I want to be focused on Christ and not proud about things. But I understand what you're saying too, because I think our country's origin was rooted in Christ, in Christianity, and I hate to see the direction that it's taking. So that's my 2 cents.
I think you could correlate that to a little bit to how some followers of Christ feel about Christianity, because a lot of the face of Christianity or certain faces of Christianity are just very hypocritical or just not. I've been using the word kosher all the time. And it's just not what you would think Christ would want to be portrayed about Christianity. Mm-hmm. Like one of our recent topics was, can you be gay and Christian? And it's not preached on and everything. And everybody shuns it down and everything like that. And I agree, you can't be gay and Christian because you can't live in the sin and or actively live in sin and be a true follower of Christ. And we talked about it, how all different sorts of age groups just shun people away. And that's not what the Bible asks us to do. It asks us to bring them in and to build them up with the gospel. So I think you could correlate that a little bit to sometimes not being proud as a Christian and kind of backing away from certain conversations or topics at like work or at school and just kind of staying silent.
And I want to apologize to Leslie because I misquoted him. He said, is it wrong that I'm not proud to be an American? So sorry about that, Leslie. I think we kind of touched on that though, and probably gave you an answer to that, because I know it hurts me, but you know what? God is in control, and you know what? We've got a mission field here in the U.S. And I think the more that we experience persecution, the more we're going to have to rely on God. The more we rely on God, the more we're going to grow, and the more our faith is going to get stronger. So I'm not happy to see the direction, but I'm still going to trust in God, and I'm going to take my call seriously to reach others for Christ in response to that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's okay if you don't feel proud to be an American or proud to be a Christian or a Catholic, whatever group like has egg on its face at that particular moment. But in terms of America in general, something I'm passionate about, I look back at our founding, and it's a controversial founding, right? Because the Constitution basically represents that black people are 3/5 of a person when it comes to voting, and like that's negative, right? And slavery was a thing whenever the country was founded. So we look back on our history and we're like, wow, we had this really dark founding, and I'm like. But I look back at the way the Constitution was written, and this is what makes me proud to be an American. It's not just values that change over time. It's the Constitution was written in a way to be amended over time as we change as a people. And I think that was done in wisdom by the founders. I think a lot of the founders were Christians, and a lot of them were didn't like slavery and didn't like racism and all this kind of stuff. But they built in these mechanisms so over time, the founding document could change. The way we govern our country can change, and the way we interact with one another can change as we as a people change. And like, so we take these 21st century values and we try to like copy and paste them back into 1776 and 1789. And it was a hugely different time back then. Culturally, people's beliefs were changing rapidly. But they built in this mechanism where we could change. So that's part of what makes me proud to be an American. As we change, as our hearts change, we can change the way we govern our people and the way we behave as a nation. Now, lately, it seems like our culture is like degraded and we've kind of lost our way in a lot of ways. But I don't think it's too late to change that. So Andrew Breitbart used to say that politics is downstream of culture, which means culture influences politics. And if we can work on the culture as Christians to be more Christ-like, then our politics will be more Christ-like. I don't think it's too late for that.
Yeah. Have you guys ever read about slavery and our founding fathers? And have you ever heard about the movement to get away from slavery and that being part of the reason for the Civil War, or not Civil War, the Revolutionary War?
No.
Very, very interesting. I've read a couple articles about that, and it was something that some of our founding fathers felt forced upon us from England, and that was something that was part of the call to get away from England. But at the same time, when it happened, they felt like they couldn't make that call because they were afraid that they were going to split the United States colonies apart, and they wouldn't be able to fight off the English there and everything like that. So kind of a lot of behind the scene things and everything like that. But
mainly, I guess, because it was such a radical thought at the time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So all right, cool. You guys ready to move over? You got anything else you want to talk about?
I'm ready to play.
All right, let's get going. So we're going to shut down the stream, and then we're going to start up the stream again in a few minutes. So if you guys want to hang out and wait for that, and then we're going to hop over to Black Ops 3. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if I have enough bandwidth to stream it and play it at the same time, but we're going to try it out and see what we can
I
do.
don't anymore.
What's that?
I said, I know I don't anymore. I moved from big city to little sticks.
Oh, that's where I'm at. Country bumpkin. All right. Well, thanks you guys for coming out in here, and hopefully you stick around and join us for the next live stream here in a couple of minutes, and we'll see what we can do. All right. in Black Ops 3, hopefully we can hold our own, and we got Taboo on our team, man. That's all we need.
I got my back.
All right.
Okay. It's okay.
Rex, thanks for being on the first part of the show. We'll see you here in a minute too, but make sure you guys check out the video description and check out Solid Rock Gamers. Find Rex. I know I saw somebody subscribed already and I think found you. So keep on doing that and check that out. If you're watching this back later, tomorrow or something like that. Make sure you check him out then as well. But thanks, you guys. Thanks, Ocho, for this first part. I feel like I'm saying goodbye, but I guess I'm not even going to thank you guys. So we'll see you here in a few minutes.
BRB.
All right. See ya. Peace out.
Maybe not personally, but your sympathy is so solid product from the helmet